Yeah, a lot of people know me for sure, the software guy. I'm also like, I just love life. I love entrepreneurship. Yeah, I'm just like a big pro entrepreneurs. I think it's cool that entrepreneurs wake up every day to make the world a better place.
I mean, my understanding is your company started when you were 24. You had to exit just a couple years later, and then like now you've like exited multiple companies, and that's like what you teach on.
So I don't know, maybe I got lucky with some of my friends and my partners, but it's who I am. It's literally why I've invested in 50 plus companies. I love the early stage entrepreneurs willing to show up and put in the sweat equity and just decide that they want to create something different in the world. It's just, I don't know, it's the coolest thing to be part of.
Welcome to the DV podcast, where we showcase inspiring individuals on their unique journeys in life. On this episode, we have the pleasure of speaking to Dan Martell. He's a serial entrepreneur, and he comes from my homeland, Canada. Now, he's an award-winning entrepreneur, investor, best-selling author, and all those things are amazing, and he's built and sold not one, not two, but 3 companies. And he now coaches over 1,000 software founders on how they too can build up to success. He just launched a $100 million fund to actually buy software companies, and I'm extremely excited to dive into today's podcast with Dan. So dude, tell me who's Dan?
Who's Dan? A lot of people know me as the software guy. So I run the largest CEO coaching company called SaaS Academy in the world for software entrepreneurs. We have like 1,000 active clients. Father of 2 Irish twins, 11 months apart, which is a gnarly thing to experience. It's like having it's like having twins but 2 births, so it's kind of harder, I would say, because that was crazy.
Like, do you have those for kids? Or
yeah, I have 2 boys. No. I have 2 boys, Max and Noah, and they're Irish twins. So there was a 2-year period, which was bananas, because we were living in San Francisco. My wife got pregnant, decided that we're going to have our kids in Canada, moved to Canada. But like right before she got pregnant, I started Clarity. She started her company called Onboardly. It was an agency. Had 2 kids. We were building our summer home in Canada. Moved into that home. Then when we found out we were having our second, decided we're going to build our like a more forever home. So then built another home while we had the second kid, while we were running 2 companies in a 2-year period. So there was like this. And a lot of the reasons I wrote that book was because I almost went insane. Like, it was like anxiety attacks and it just forced me to have to like understand how to operate at a different level. But yeah, a lot of people know me for sure, the software guy. I'm also like, I just love life. I love entrepreneurship. Yeah, I'm just like a big pro entrepreneurs. I think it's cool that entrepreneurs wake up every day to make the world a better place. Like, if you think about it, you're not an entrepreneur if you don't create value. Directly, creating value means doing something positive for somebody else. So every entrepreneur that wakes up, that creates a business, goes to work, is literally making the world a better place for everybody. It doesn't matter if it's the, lawn guy or the software guy or the agency person. Like, that's kind of a cool thing. So I'm just like a big fan of seeing people create and build. But that's who I am.
Yeah, cool, man. You have like, you were like well decorated. You literally, I mean, my understanding is your company started when you were 24. You had to exit just a couple years later, and then like now you've like exited multiple companies, and that's like what you teach on.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I just live in this world of software and exits that I don't think it's impressive. It's just kind of what we do. But yeah, I built 3 companies and exited them in 10 years, which was bananas. That I did like. I remember there was a moment I'm on my boat on the East Coast, and my co-founder calls me, and he's like, "The deal just closed," and I had a moment because I was like, this is crazy.
That
would have been Flowtown.
Okay.
Yeah, so Spheric happened 24 to 28. Like, super struggle. Became a millionaire when I was 27. That kind of created the baseline of my wealth. Then I moved to San Francisco from a small town in Eastern Canada. And I honestly went there on sabbatical. Like, I wasn't working, I wasn't starting a company. Lasted about a year, met my co-founder.
Be around these types of people.
I want to study. I want to like literally go to the Disneyland for geeks and figure out one thing. How do they do distribution? I'm a software programmer. I'm not a marketer. I'm not a salesperson. Like, none of those things. I was writing code, managing engineering teams. And I moved there to like study what now is called growth hacking, but back then a lot of us called marketing-based or metrics-based marketing. So like Sean Ellis, who coined the term growth hacker, was a friend of mine, and we would just talk about metrics-based marketing, like essentially message market fit, like flow. Like it's super nerdy, but like psychology plays such a big part to marketing and like product onboarding and activation and what's called time to first value. Like how do you get somebody that's aware of your product to sign up, and then in that flow, what's called the first time user experience, a FTUI. It's actually a term. Okay. How do you get them to experience value? And that, if you do it well, and then you have some kind of viral loop in the product, so like if you're FreshBooks, you send an invoice to another business, but then in the bottom line it says powered by FreshBooks, or if you're Intercom chat software, I was just going to say that because I'm an investor in Intercom. Udemy, you have a course platform, so like I was an investor in Udemy and helped them. So like I went there to learn growth, and I thought it was all a marketing thing, and I realized that it's a product thing. So it's actually a fascinating journey for the first 12 months of like thinking I'm going to go learn marketing and sales and realizing that product is number one, right? And building great product was the skill, and I used to do enterprise software, which is like no requirement that it works good, because it's like they buy it and then you just build it and then the employees have to suffer. Like that's enterprise software. But consumer level, like think of like Amazon. If the product isn't clear, if the flows aren't well designed, people don't spend money, the company doesn't make money. If Dropbox doesn't have an easy way to install itself, connect to your file system, share and synchronize files, you don't use it, it doesn't grow. So I learned that a lot of marketing is really product. And so then I built this company called Flowtown, which is a social marketing platform with my co-founder Ethan. And I'd given myself 10 years. So I said, I'm going to move to Silicon Valley, and it would be cool, maybe somehow start a company, raise venture capital, do that whole Silicon Valley story, and exit. And I thought, okay, 10 years feels like a good timeline. I'm committed to that. And we did it in about 3. Wow. Yeah. So I remember like sitting on my boat, Ethan calling me going like, deal just closed, wires are sent. And I'm like, this is nuts. Like, yeah. It was surreal for a lot of reasons. One, Ethan was, I think Ethan's like 7 years younger than me. I'm 43 now, so he'd be 37. But at the time, I was like 31, I think, and he would have been 20. Early 20s. Late 20s, yeah, mid-late 20s. And I was just really pumped because building Flowtown was a tough scenario because we were co-founders, but I had made money and he had literally none. Like one time I went to his house on a Sunday, and I was like, let's go to the office, because it was like walking distance from our houses. And he goes, I can't, I got to do laundry. And it's like, dude, we just raised $1 million in capital. If you can't pay for wash and fold, like we need to talk about time. And that was actually a cool experience for me, because the previous company, I learned how to work really hard, 100-hour week, output, whatever, but it actually cost me my engagement. So I used to be engaged to another woman that's not my wife today. And I came home and she just dropped the ring on the counter and said, I'm done. Yeah, but I learned that muscle. So when I moved to San Francisco and I met Ethan, we had this crazy idea for Flowtown. I was like, you be the CEO. I'll be, at first it was a non-employee co-founder because I didn't want to work. I was just like, I'll be the investor. But he was smart enough to like slowly pull me in. So it was kind of a neat experience for me to actually like have somebody else be CEO of a company, support him, mentor him. And yeah, 2.5 years later, like made millions of dollars. And I was really more happy for him because it was like, now he could live the life, because it was I felt guilty, man. He's living like this like super poor San Francisco young 20-year-old life. And I was not. And it was like tough for me to like, every time we went out, I'd have to buy stuff, or like when we traveled, I paid for it, or all this stuff. And like now, now he's done another company called Digit, which was a saving app. It was a finance app that automatically took money out of your bank account that you wouldn't notice and save it. Digit.co. He just sold it for $280 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were like his launching pad.
Not only that, this is the fun part nobody knows is when we sold Flowtown, we both, exits. I came up with the idea for Clarity and couldn't wait to do it, so I went and did that. And he finished out his earnout and then eventually started Digit. But when we broke up and I was leaving to do Clarity, we were kind of bummed because we just enjoyed working with each other so much, so that we made a commitment that for the rest of our lives we'll give each other 1% of our companies. Oh, cool. So literally he has 1% of SaaS Academy and I had 1% of Digit, and he exited and I got a big ass check, and I was like, So now we're just buddies. We like ski together. Yeah, I think in life, like, find people you vibe with and just like figure out how to always have them in your life. And I just think it's kind of counterintuitive advice as a business person, because like I think a lot of people say like keep them separate. My philosophy, and just maybe it's my personality, I just like being in business with my friends.
You do have like this like energy to you that's like you do have a glow to you that's like optimistic and like just loving life. And so for you, it's probably how can I like incorporate my joy and make joy in everything?
Yeah, and support other people to discover it. Like one of my favorite stories I actually talk about in the book is my brother. My brother calls me one day, and he was a mechanic, and he decides after 4 years of working at this shop that he was supposed to buy. This guy, Ralph, had a shop. Pierre came in as an intern, but he was adamant at someday owning his own mechanic shop. And Ralph saw that in him and kind of said, Pierre, if you help me build this shop, I'll someday sell it to you. And Pierre's like, well, I'm going to do this. So like, if you're going to sell this to me, like, what's the timeline? He's like, a couple years, I'm almost ready to retire. So Pierre literally showed up as an owner and like turned around this place. They doubled the bays. They got more efficient. He like would work weekends, cleaning stuff up, helping with the finance. Like he literally showed up as an owner. And after a year or two, he's like, hey, Ralph, we should really put something on paper. And Ralph's like, yeah, for sure, we'll do it. Yeah, I appreciate the patience, like just dealing with some other stuff. Punted, and finally on the third or fourth year, Ralph's like, Pierre, I just don't see me retiring. And Pierre goes, I quit. So he calls me. I remember the day he calls me, and I go to his house, and he's just like, meet me at my house. I was like, okay, there's something going on. And I like walk into his living room, and I was like, what's up? He goes, I just quit Ralph's. And I was like, dude, I thought you were buying the place, aren't you? Like, didn't you buy it? And he's like, no, Ralph told me he doesn't want to sell. And I was like, wow, what do you want to do now? And he's like, I don't know, man. And I was like, well, what are your options? And he's like, well, probably something in real estate. And I go, what kind of real estate? And he's like, well, I could probably, I don't know, build some land development, some multi-units, and like maybe house building. And I was like, why house building? He's like, I just helped my friend build his house. And I go, I don't know anything about real estate. I'm a software guy, but the house one seems like the most approachable. Like you can buy a piece of land and build a house. Like I don't think it's that complicated. He goes, I don't have any money. And I said, what do you need? And I gave him 175 grand. I literally emptied out my bank account. The reason I did that is because when I was 15, I got in trouble with the law. And Pierre called me up and said, don't come home, the police are waiting for you. And he showed up and he gave me the last $63 in his bank account. And maybe I've never connected this, Dylan, like maybe that's why I'm so like pro supporting other people, but like having my younger brother show up on his 50cc motorbike, because he's like 14, to give me his $63, like to like help me, even though obviously I was in trouble with some stuff. Yeah, and my dad, I remember when he found out, he's like, that was the dumbest decision ever. Like, you shouldn't be in business together. And dude, my brother showed up every day for a decade and turned it into a multi-$10 million company. And like, he's won awards and like so I don't know, maybe I got lucky with some of my friends and my partners, but it's who I am. It's literally why I've invested in 50 plus companies. I love the early stage entrepreneur that's willing to show up and put in the sweat equity and just decide that they want to create something different in the world. It's just, I don't know, it's the coolest thing to be part of.
It sounds like everything you do, when you talk about it, it's like the person that's around it.
It's 1,000% the people. Dude, like I was talking to Sam about this, my videographer, because like there's people I'll meet, and if I just have a vibe, there's something off, I don't need proof. Like I think sometimes in life people are like, there's something off about this person, but they haven't done anything. I have zero requirement, because I've just been burned over the years, right? Like it might sound like I've always made money. It's not the case. I've invested in people, and dude, there was a guy I hired one time, and it was like, where is he? Like he hasn't showed up for work, and then there was an email that said that he got an injury, he was in the hospital. I drove 2 hours to where he lived to go see him in the hospital. They're like, we don't have anybody at the hospital. I go to his apartment, which is address for like where he said he lived on the employment contract, and his roommate said, no, he's at Angie's house. He was partying with his girlfriend. So like, I've just been burned by like defaulting, I call it API, assuming positive intent, right? It's a little bit of a nerdy API thing, but I've always, and I still do, I always assume positive intent, but I now just have realized like, you also got to trust your gut. So like, we both know a lot of the same people, and there's these circles of the online folks, and there's just a certain group of people I just have no desire. People are like, oh, you should talk to this person. It's like, I'm good. Don't need to like, no proof. I don't think there's anything positive that's going to come from it. And just like some people, dude, I have a friend, and for whatever reason, he seems to always be in a legal battle. And I'm just like, there's a common denominator here, and it's not the other people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like this guy, Naval Ravikant, he's like kind of a mentor to me, and he said that once.
He's over there somewhere.
Yeah, Naval, the Almanac Naval. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so when I moved to San Francisco, I met him at a dinner party, and like he became a mentor of mine, a big influence on this book. But Naval said, like, people that are litigious, give it enough time and they'll turn their litigiousness or whatever it's called on you, right? And it's just true. So I think when people show you who they are, I think Maya Angelou said this, believe them. So when I feel a certain vibe from somebody, I don't need proof there's something that bad could happen. I just create my space.
Yeah, I've noticed that with the people we've been around, and it's just like it's scary, especially like we're both Canadians. Like litigation doesn't happen. Like
it's a weird concept in Canada. Yeah,
it's like wait. Like you see here, people like throw it around. Like it costs $300 to file a lawsuit, and people just do it all the time.
All the time.
And on that same note, I think that I inherently have that trust thing too. It's like I have the API, because it's like I think there's something culturally, and people will say like when they find out, oh, you're Canadian, that's why you're so nice. Like that's what you probably hear the same thing
all the time.
And I'm like, and I think it's just something we are. It's like we assume better intentions. We care more about, I think, collectively the people. And it's not so like dog eat dog. It's like let's support
individual
others
versus the community. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would 100% agree in that. I used to ask, like, because I grew up in New Brunswick on the East Coast, and I remember asking a mentor of mine, like, why is this community so supportive? Because I've been to other cities and other places in the U.S. predominantly that just didn't feel like that. And I wasn't sure if it's because everybody was from there or like, and he said he thinks it's because of the fishing background and culture. So fishermen it's kind of a weird hobby, profession, because they literally go out to compete, but yet if there's a storm, they need each other. So it's almost like his argument was that it's kind of part of our DNA, that
when times get tough, we come together.
We have to. We literally can't survive. If you're a lobster fisherman and your boat breaks down and your traps are out there, you need somebody else's boat to come help you grab those traps, and you need to do that because you may be that guy without a boat. And it's just this like beautiful like, hey, I'm gonna go do my thing and perform, but if I need to support somebody else, like it's not taking from me. And I think that's like a big idea that a lot of entrepreneurs, when you're starting off, they think like, well, there's only so much opportunity. Dude, as you know, like when you get at the level where you're making the kind of money we do, like it's saying no is the norm, not saying yes. Like there's no lack of opportunity. It's like every day I get somebody, you should do, I literally had somebody on my team like, hey, sent me a message on Slack. They're like, got this crazy idea that you can make an extra $2 million a year doing this service and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, no. Like, it's a distraction.
It's hard, though. Like, it is hard. And I think in order to do that, you need that crystal clear vision. It's like, this is Dan's mission. And so what are you doing to filter out those? Because there's a million things we could be doing to cash flow an extra couple $1 million a year. What is worth it? What's not worth it?
10X vision map. It's literally, I think, chapter 12. I don't mean to pimp my book, but I obviously spent 2.5 years.
Welcome to Pimp
All right,
Pimp
my book. Yeah, I'll show you how to properly pimp your book, okay? But it's Dream Big, Achieve Bigger, chapter 13. And the reason I put this, and it was hard to write this book, because this originally was 140,000 words. Today, it's 48,000. So there's 100,000 words I had to edit out of this book. Because my editor is like, hey, Dan, I need to explain you something. There's a difference between a university textbook and a best-selling book. And I was like, all right, heard. Let me work on it. But chapter 13 was there because if you don't have a vision for the future, then there's no ability to sequencing. And sequencing equals success, right? Like the same Ingredients could exist in two different people. One person has the proper sequencing called a recipe. The other person has no recipe. They just have the ingredients. One person creates a beautiful chocolate cake. The other person creates a pile of mush. And so my philosophy is, and I got this from 7 Habits, begin with the end in mind. So the 10X vision map for me is a tool and a strategy for people to have permission to allow themselves to dream. Like, how do you think about the future without constraints, right? The what and the where, and then allow that to materialize by your decisions today, right? When people are like, hey, Dan, I'm thinking of doing a few different things. Which way should I go? I'm like, it all depends what you want. Tell me what you want. It's actually fascinating, Dylan, when I interview people, I do culture interview. I don't do like the skills testing and all that stuff. So when I get to people, it's literally a 20-minute conversation. 10 minutes me asking them a handful of questions, them asking me a handful of questions. I'm gonna give the questions away because I might hurt myself because I like to see if people are prepared. But the question I ask them is, 10 years from now, you're waking up and you're living your dream life and you can live anywhere and do anything. We can't be working together, just to take that off the table. Describe to me in as much detail as you possibly can what that looks like. You know what I hear most often? I don't know. That's a great question. And I find that fascinating, that people wake up every day and make decisions about tomorrow, the next week, next quarter, next year, but they can't tell me what they're trying to aim towards. Because without that, how are you able to make a decision that's aligned, right? Alignment requires a destination, right? And alignment is acceleration. If you want to accelerate your path, have a vision that you're aligned to, and it's just inherently you're going to accelerate towards it.
Yeah, and filtering out all the noise too. I'm experiencing this, but one thing that I know you're really good at is the name of the book, Buy Back Your Time. And so you're able to cut through a lot of the noise. And I actually, literally since we had dinner a couple days ago, I turned off my notifications on my email. And and so and you sent me over the SOP for your EA, so thank you for that.
Pimp my book. I did send you the SOPs. That's like next level support, but I did at least in here, chapter 6,
Welcome
Clone
to
Yourself.
Part 2 of Pimp My Book.
Yeah.
And now we're going into SOPs.
Yeah, SOPs for the EAs, okay? So page 99, here's why. Like, it's literally, people are like, well, how do I set up my folder structure with my EA? How do you get them to manage your inbox? It's right there. Like, dude, I put it all in here. What's every day you talk about a meeting with your EA. Yeah, it's called the weekly sync. It's the agenda structure is in the book. I tell you, like, these are the 7 things we look at. Well, how should I hire people? What's the sequence? Replacement ladder. I took all the questions I've been asked for the last 15 years. Because, dude, I haven't had anything. If you weren't a software CEO, there was 0 you could buy from me. There was no way to come into my world, to get time with me. Like, I didn't have anything for you. I would only teach this to companies I invested in or people that were in my coaching program. So I have like all these years of the questions and the mindsets and the beliefs. So like when I sat down and wrote it, that's why it was tough for me to keep stuff out, is because I really wanted to give everybody this stuff. But like, you got my SOPs, like nobody's gonna read a book full of SOPs, even though they're amazing.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, standard operating procedures for people listening, yeah.
Who's this book for? Is it for new entrepreneurs? Is it for experienced business owners?
I understand the power of positioning, so I'm getting myself in trouble if I say this. But I wrote down 25 names of entrepreneurs that I wanted to serve. I would say 15 of those names were like $1 million in revenue type entrepreneurs that were creators, like they would self-identify as artists that loved their art. The other 10-ish were 8 to 9-figure CEOs. And I tried to write a book that would serve both. That's why I start off with the concepts of like time trading and just like basic ideas of like, what is your time worth with the buyback rate? And then teaching my philosophy of like the buyback principle, which is we don't hire people to grow our business, we hire people to buy back our time. Because if you do the second, you get the first, but if you do the first, you don't get the second, right? It's a capacity over calendar thing. So if you said like, I wrote down this avatar, Daryl, and I talk about him in the book, but I didn't say that this is the guy I wrote it for, but it's a 1.2 million a year, 13 employee agency. That's the avatar. But I wrote it in a way that it's gonna address the podcast creator that keeps editing their own videos, all the way to...
Sorry, Andre.
It's all good. Andre, I love you, man. Super talented, but like just create more art. I just, yeah, and some people was like, well, I don't want to, I know I have an irrational feel of fear of scaling, or what if I love this and all these, okay, perfect. But if you ever wake up one day because you have another kid or something, you have a medical issue, like I want you to at least understand the playbook, right? And like there's ways to load balance or play with it today so that when you're ready, you can pull the ripcord and not get yourself in a position. Because most businesses, man, I don't think entrepreneurs understand that like if something happens to them, they don't have anything. Right? They think they have something. No, you don't. If you can't go on vacation for 3 months and come back and the company thrive, you don't have a company. You have a thing that you've been like spinning the plates on, and as soon as you take your eye off of it, it goes away. And the reason why is because they have these beliefs that just hold them back about like how they show up for people and how they lead. That's why I have a whole chapter on leadership in there, because CEOs are their worst enemy when it comes to actually buying back their time. Like I could teach people, here's how to hire an executive assistant, here's how to onboard them, here's the SOP, here's how to train them, everything. And in 3 months, you could still fire that person, or that person will quit. And it has nothing to do with the quality of that person's skill set. It has everything to do with how you showed up for that person. If you do their work, I literally see CEOs do this all the time. I hired an executive assistant, I don't see what the big deal is. Did you stay out of the inbox? Well, I mean, what are you talking about? Well, did you go into their inbox and start looking at emails? Well, of course. Why wouldn't I do that? Because I told you not to. Like, let them process and bring to you the stuff they don't know how to process. Like, it's kind of this joke where you see people hiring a person to clean their house, but before they show up, they clean their house.
Yeah. My mom does that.
Dude, it's fascinating to watch. But as a team member under that leadership style, it doesn't feel good. Because you know what message that says to me? You don't trust me. I don't want to work for somebody that says to me indirectly by their actions they don't trust me. Imagine if every time I go to do my work, I see evidence that the person that I report to has been in and messed with the work before I even showed up to do it. It's like, you didn't even give me a chance to do it. That's what you're telling somebody that's cleaning your house, but you pre-clean. It's fascinating to watch. So I wrote a whole chapter on transformational leadership versus transactional leadership to address that. And then just one of my favorite rules is the 1-3-1 rule, right? Nobody in my world, this is everybody, is allowed to come to me with a problem without solutions. Like it's just a general rule. Like Dylan, if you work for me and you're like, hey man, our ads are double the cost. I go, cool, what's your 1-3-1?
I read it, I think it's a great
Dude,
idea.
It's like the most powerful thing an entrepreneur,
culture, right?
It's culture, it's default, it's setting the, teach people how you teach people how to treat you. It's like I teach people right from the get-go, this is how it is to work with me. I actually have a document called Working with Dan. If you want, I'll send it to you. I don't usually share this, but Working with Dan outlines what it's like to work with Dan, how I am, my intricacies, my expectations, what to expect, etc. And the 1-3-1 is essentially me saying like, you come to me with one specific problem, not 14, because that's the other part. It's like, what problem are we trying to solve? That's another one of my favorite business questions. What problem are we trying to solve? Because sometimes they come to you with like, the world's on fire.
Yep.
Pick a problem. Then explain to me the 3 viable options. Not baloney options, like viable options, like you sat down, you talked to some people, did some research, hit Mr. Google's up, and you think, here are 3 viable options based on where we're at. And then what's your one recommendation? And if you do that, what happens, and this is the power of great leadership, is at the top, you're actually not supposed to be making decisions down at the bottom. This is strategy level, okay? CEOs should be spending their time 16 months into the future, not into next week, right? And then your directors, they're into the quarter. So it's like C-level, 16 months into the future, 12 months into the future. Directors, this quarter. Managers, this week. Team members, today. So if you're getting problems that are today problems, you need to push them down to the frontline people that actually have the most context to make the best decision. The 1-3-1 rule just creates culture, creates a structure, and it allows the manager, there's a great book called The 1 Minute Manager Meets the Monkey. So 1 Minute Manager, everybody's heard of. Meets the Monkey is actually the book, okay? Same guy, different concept. And the whole idea is, because a lot of times what happens is individual contributors at the front line get promoted into a leadership role. but they show up like an IC. They show up like an individual contributor. And what does that look like? Send it over to me and I'll look at it and give you some feedback. Oh, that sounds great. What's your problem? Come show it to me. I'll work with you on it. That's not how you want to show up as a leader. A leader says, you do it, and if you need help, I'm here to support you. Okay? So that's the difference between being a coach as a leader versus doing the work for somebody. Steve Jobs said it best. He says, it's easy to hire somebody and tell them what to do. It's hard to hire somebody and have them tell you what to do. I want to hire people that are going to tell me what they're going to do. And 1-3-1 rule is just like one of the best methodologies for that.
Yeah, so 1 problem, 3 solutions.
3 viable options.
They take one of those as like the preferred recommendation.
They do that in the third, 1-3-1. So it's 1 problem, 3 viable options, 1 recommendation. 90% of the time, my feedback is, sounds good, do that. Right? And guess what happens? Eventually, they do the 1 and the 3, and they don't even come to you because it's so obvious. But it's just you teach people how to treat you. So if you teach people when you have a problem, come see me, they're always going to do that. And it actually makes sense. And here's why. If you tell them what to do and it doesn't work, who's accountable?
It's your fault.
The CEO. Yeah, you told them, let's go do this, and it didn't work out. But
if it does work, now you're also taking away some of their, the confidence that would have come from solving the problem.
Yeah, so the whole philosophy, somebody said it best, if they help build the plan, they don't fight the plan. So I want them to build the plan, right? And I want to be the editor, not the author. I want them to author the strategy, the ideas, and then I can edit and just give them perspective and context. And that's what our job is. I think most CEOs would be better spent, instead of spending all their time in meeting telling people what to do, coaching their team the way they would coach any other person. Like make yourself available to set the context and the relationships and the potential solutions, but not tell people how to do anything. Right? Because that's like, if you gave it to me with a problem, I would just give you perspective. I wouldn't tell you what to do. That's actually a great frame for people to bring to their team.
So for example, it's like, hey, we got 5 clients, they're not happy with the fulfillment of the product. And then that's the problem I come to you with.
I think that's awesome. I'm like, Dylan, cool. What are your options?
And then
usually it's, I don't know. And I go, cool, how much time would it take you to figure out? Well, I've never done this before. I know. Isn't this exciting? Well, how am I supposed to figure it out? I don't know, but I trust you'll figure it out. Do you think you could figure it out if you had some time? Probably. How much time do you need? Friday? Friday sounds awesome. But here's what I need. I need you to come to me with 1 clear problem you're trying to solve. I think you got it, but just spend some time on it. 3 viable options that you think could solve that problem. And 1 option may be, we just don't need to keep those clients. Fire the clients. That could be. I'm just throwing out some options for you. And then what's the 1 recommendation? And usually what happens is by Thursday, they text you and say, Dylan, I got it. And you're like, cool. No meeting needed.
Yeah, that's cool. So for like a leader or a CEO that's in that place where they're not they're not focused on 16 months. They're not even focused on the quarter. They're focused on like
day-to-day firefighting.
Or even day-to-day.
Yeah.
What's the elevation process?
Yeah, so first off, the buyback loop states that we need to focus on auditing our time and energy, transferring the stuff that sucks our energy that's low cost to outsource, and then filling it with things that create more value, that light us up. That's the buyback loop, okay? So that's the core framework of the whole book. The time and energy audit is the first thing. When I coach people privately, it's let's look at your calendar. So 2-week period, we do an audit, and they highlight in green things that light them up that they're doing, and in red things that take their energy. And then they rescore all those tasks by $1, which is like essentially the buyback rate I talk about in the book, or $4, which is expensive. So like least expensive to most expensive, like restaurant rating, right? It's relative to your business and what your buyback rate is, so it's not a specific dollar amount, it's just $1 sign. So checking your emails is $1 sign. You can pay people to do email your check stuff. Running around town, running errands, $1 sign.
Is it based on what the cost of it would be, or how valuable it is to you?
No, cost to pay somebody to do it. Yep. Because the valuable to you is time, and your time is variable based on your income, right? So I want people to understand 2 things, and it's energy. Because like things that take your energy that are a little bit more expensive, actually is expensive because it zaps your flow, right? When I wake up, and this is my life today because I've been doing this for 15 years, I do not do anything in my calendar that's red. I don't do crap financial meetings I don't want to do. I don't even do executive planning if I don't want to do it. I don't do, I don't like even, I mean, not to brag, but like in our home, we have a dedicated house manager that takes care of our personal assets and all of our home stuff so that my wife and I can literally wake up, be with each other, be with our kids, go create as entrepreneurs. We're both entrepreneurs, come together whenever we want and not deal with like the honey-do list and having her stressing out about what's for dinner and all this stuff. It's like, we want that taken care of so that we can show up present. When you stack a list of green things, activities and projects that just light you up, think about that. Like, I actually think it's a 3. If I had to quantify it, my ability to create when I don't have to get detracted, right? It's almost like the compound effect. I don't get detracted. Those green stacking of days allows me to create 3 times more than normal. Like, it's a 3x amplifier if I can change my calendar from some reds to green to full greens. Not just buying back the time, but actually going with an energy coming into my day to create right till the end. And if it's 4 hours a day, cool. But man, you just show up more creative, more energized. You have more energy for your family. Like, what's that worth?
Love life, right?
Oh my God. That's why I say it's get unstuck, reclaim your freedom, and build your empire. An empire in my world is a life of unlimited creation you never have to retire from. That is the difference. I think every entrepreneur should get to a place where they can create in an unlimited capacity in a way that feels enhancing, not detracting, that they never have to retire from. It's like, there's no retirement. Like, Dylan, what are you going to retire from being you? Like, it's kind of a weird idea for a lot of people. And it was actually, somebody told me the other day, it was created back in the like 30s to actually get older workforce to retire out of the workforce to create employment for the younger workforce coming in. So it was actually created to solve a problem around like generational employment, but it's not a normal concept. Like, people don't need to retire at 55 or 65. Like, it's kind of a weird thing. Like, you're still capable, you still have, your mind, you should be doing stuff. And you have so much wisdom. Like, my favorite advisors to hire for companies are the ones that are retired that have 20, 30, 40, 50 years of experience in an industry, right? Like, you put an advisory board of those folks together, it's kind of an unfair advantage.
Yeah, it's the thing that people say, right? Like, I haven't been to the cycle yet, but once you have an exit or whatever, it's like they go lay on the beach for, 3 months, then they're like, holy crap, my life is boring, let me come back into work.
Chapter 11, I talk about this. I actually joke that most entrepreneurs, if they sold their company, would be laying poolside, and by 1 o'clock, they would have a new idea for a lawn chair and hire the pool guy as their first employee. It's just what we do.
Have you been through a cycle like that? Have you gone and taken time off?
Oh, that's a great question. So I sold my first company when I was 28, and I would say I tried, right? Like, I moved to San Francisco, I wanted to learn, I was retired, sabbatical, so I took, after I sold the company, I took 4 months off and like partied like it was 1999, okay? Like, bought a cottage, boat, all that fun stuff, built a new house. And that was cool, but the problem was that I could clearly see that one day, if I kept this trend line going, I would wake up. There was this guy in my hometown growing up named Norm. He was like the 40-year-old man with young girls around all the time. I could see a path to being Norm. So I was like, I gotta go, because I don't want to wake up one day and just have like gray chest hair and, a tan and all that stuff. And so I moved to San Francisco. And even in that, I was like, I'm not gonna start another company. Like, I'm just gonna like study and be around people and be value add. I literally just was offering biz dev marketing, like I would just help people out. And what happened was Ethan, my co-founder, was super smart. I actually built this tool that became Flowtown, but I built it as a tool to help other friends. And he saw it and he's like, we should build a company. I'm like, go build the company. Here's the code base. I actually even took my developer, David, and I said, you and David, go do this. So I tried not to do anything because I wanted to take some time off, but he pulled me back in. And then after we sold Flowtown, I lasted, dude, I had clarity in my brain. I couldn't turn it off. I would stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning. Lasted 3 months at the acquirer. It was so crazy of a turnaround that when I told the CMO, because the CMO was the kind of the champion that bought the software, Rick, the CEO, obviously, like, he's the owner and he wrote the check and all that stuff, that the CMO almost physically attacked me. He's like, you knew you weren't gonna stay and this is bull crap. And I'm like, no, it's not. I just can't help it. And like, I was the guy that would say things like, you have to follow your passion and like, quit your job and pursue your dream. So here I was with this idea for clarity. And I knew that if I didn't pursue it, like I always believed that the world rewarded courageous decisions. And I remember my wife came out, I was like, well, she was my fiance at the time, Renee, and I'm sitting there in our living room on my screen, I'm wireframing these new flows. It's like 3 a.m. She's like, are you coming to bed? And I'm just like, oh, I'm just like in the zone, like before kids, I used to stay up really late. And she's just like, I've never seen you so engulfed in an idea. And the next day I just went in and I just like Band-Aid off. I quit, I'm leaving, I'm quitting, everybody, I'm quitting. And Ethan, my co-founder, is like, what are you talking about? I said, I gotta go do clarity. Like if I don't do this, I'm gonna regret it. Dude, you only have to wait 9 months. Like why, like earn out?
You had to earn out first.
I had a 1-year earn out. I'm 3 months in and it is a multi-million-dollar outcome. But I already made some money, so it was kind of dangerous, right? Because I didn't need it. But Ethan was like, we just sold them on this thing. We're gonna integrate it. And we're in the middle of this. How can you leave? And I'm like, dude, you guys are good. Like do this. And literally the CMO like got up ready to fight me. And I was like, all right, we're gonna fight. Like it was kind of a bananas situation. Luckily he calmed down because I actually, there was no intention, but I just couldn't not do it. So here's the crazy story. I jump in an Uber, I go down to Sand Hill Road and I had this crazy demo because I had met all these investors raising for my previous company. And I would just text them, I'd be like, hey, I got this new idea, you wanna see it? And VCs love that, right? Especially if you're an entrepreneur serial that's made money for them in the past. They're like, you got a new idea, what are you working on, right? Because it's another shot on goal for them. And I would go in and I would tell them to go to the URL. And it was, so it was a marketplace for entrepreneurs to get advice over the phone. And I was like, click connect. It was Facebook Connect. This was the demo of clarity. Facebook Connect. And they go, now what? I go, now you have a profile. I'm going to call you. Default their rate to $1 a minute. So then I would hit the button on the public URL and I'd leave their office and I would talk to them through the phone because it would call you and it'd say, you have a clarity call from Dan. Do you want to accept? Press 1. Decline, press 9. You press 1. It connects us. And then I would go in their conference room and I would talk to them about clarity. I would do the demo over the phone. And then after like 3 or 4 minutes, I would be like, cool, I'm coming back in. They're like, all right. And I'd hang up and I'd come in. I say, check your email because I got their email from the Facebook Connect. And they had just made $7. And I said, that is clarity. It's the way for social media, influencers, et cetera, to monetize their followership. And I said, I got to go, but I just wanted you to see it first. And they're like, are you raising? What are you doing? And I was like, I got a meeting with Redpoint. I got a meeting with Sequoia. I literally spent the afternoon. I hired the Uber guy, told him, get off the clock. I'll just pay you $400. Just stay with me. And we went from VC to VC. And that's how within 7 days, I raised $1.6 million in funding for clarity. Now, so this is why it's crazy. I decided to leave. I ended up raising at like a $7 million pre-money, which is close to the earnout. And it was proof that betting on myself, because that was the bet. It's like, in 9 months, how much value could I create? And is it equivalent? And would it set me up to do something bigger? And I just couldn't say no. I couldn't not do clarity. So I'm doing clarity, and it was probably like 3 months after I decided to resign from the acquirer to go pursue this idea. And Ethan, my previous co-founder, calls me. He goes, did you see the news? And I said, no, what's up? He goes, Demand Force, who bought Flowtown, they just got acquired by Intuit for $500 million. I was like, dude, that's amazing. Congrats. Like, that's great for the team and the company and Rick, the CEO. Like, they're really great dudes. And he goes, yeah, but you don't understand. I said, what's that? He goes, in our contract, there was a clause around change of ownership. And if it happened within the first 12 months, everybody's stock vested, you're getting your earnout. And I was like, shut up. He's like, yeah, dude.
Wow.
And I share that story because in that moment, I say stuff all the time. I believe these things, right? You like positive mental attitude of like, the world rewards courageous decisions. But that was like evidence times 2 that I did the leap, went to do clarity, took a bet, walked away, and both still happened. To me, I think that's why I'm so driven to create even more, is because I just have proof that the more the courageous decision to everybody else externally, it looks crazy. If you pursue it and you show it up with tenacity and like drive, I just can't see it not working out.
What would have happened if you didn't make that decision?
I think I would have regretted it for sure. I think somebody else would have launched the idea. My philosophy is any idea you have, it's the universal law of consciousness. Like 3 other companies in basements are working on this. Like a friend of mine the other day has this really cool, actually remind me, I keep forgetting to show people. I have this I literally have this technology that creates an AI for you. So it has the Dylan AI. Okay, and I'll show you the Dan AI. Essentially, it's ChatGPT fed the right data to create your own Q&A. Okay, it's bananas. It works really well. And I told them this the other day. I say, like, you guys are sitting on an opportunity that will be taken advantage. So either you're the company that goes all in, because they have this business and the AI thing. And I was like, either you go all in, or you're going to wake up one day and you're going to see it on TechCrunch or Product Hunt or whatever, and you're going to go, that could have been us. Like, I just believe that if somebody has the idea, 2 or 3 other companies have the idea, and it's your responsibility. Elizabeth Gilbert talks about this in her book, Big Magic. Like, the muse will show up and try to convince you to do it, and if you ignore it, it'll be like, no problem, I'll go to the next person.
Yep.
So I think for sure I would have regretted it. And, you know, Steve Jobs, man, he had the best line when he did that. I think it was a Stanford graduation speech, and he says, it's hard to connect the dots looking forward. It's so beautiful. The older I get, the more I appreciate how beautiful that statement is because there's no way I could have predicted my life today. And it makes perfect, obvious sense looking backwards. Like when people saw that we announced the $100 million fund 2 days ago, they're like, of course you would do that because you have thousands of clients in your SaaS account. Like we had 65 exits in the last 12 months. And people are like, tell me you got equity in that. No, I didn't. it was never part of my idea. But now that we have the fund, we'll be able to at least on par, like if somebody's gonna exit, it's like, what's the deal? Do you wanna sell to us, a big band software, or do you wanna sell to whatever private equity firm? Well, of course they're gonna pick me if I've coached them for 3 years. But it's like, that wasn't obvious to me when I started, but looking back, it seems so obvious. So like, to me, what would have been different? How would I have felt? I know that looking back, I would have, it's a hard question to answer because I also believe everything is perfect. So that's another weird thing, right? I believe the world rewards courageous decision, but I also believe everything is perfect. Every decision, every interaction, every person. So it's hard to make a wrong decision. It's just how much pain do you want to suffer before you get to the place that you're probably ultimately destined to get, right?
The little signs show up, right? And the book The Alchemist is one of my favorites.
So good. Paulo Coelho.
Yeah, Paulo Coelho.
Paulo Coelho.
So seeing this kid or whatever in the thing go, and then like there's a sign.
On that journey,
And the end thing is that what he was looking for was where what started.
It's the most beautiful part.
But the thing is with you, it's like the little companies you started, then the pieces rolled in. It's like it all has, and there's obviously more things down the road, but they have come together to be where you're at now in the perfect spot, having this fund, supporting these businesses you've coached. It's like you never could have predicted that.
Dude, Clarity was a platform. So most people don't know this, but we did calls, like making myself available to entrepreneurs. I did 1,200 Clarity calls in a 2-year period. So why did I do that? A, I was using my own product, which is probably a good idea. But B, that was what I was passionate about. Most people don't know this, but Clarity was a bull crap decision to not do the thing that I was on my heart to do, which is what I did after that.
You wanted to coach.
I wanted to coach, and I was in the Valley, and coaching was, so I created this whole technology platform, raised a bunch of money, built this incredible network, did 1,200 calls myself, most of them free to just support the ecosystem, to then give myself permission to do the thing that I ultimately wanted to do. And I tell people all the time, do not go from don't think you got to go 1, 2 to 3. Just go to 3. If you want to start a hedge fund, just start a hedge fund. Like so many people are like, I want to be an investor, but I probably need to start a company and exit it so I have the experience to then be an investor. It's like, or you can just be an investor. And you could surround yourself with other investors and understand how to do that. And that was the lesson I learned with Clarity is man, when I started coaching, it was almost like a secret I had with everybody that I would do this for free. I love this. Dude, you've known me. I don't not talk about business. I had to write this book because I can't shut up about this topic, right? Like, it's just
And
who
it's
I am.
cool because like you have a reference and like this is a value-driven book. This is the tactical shit to move forward, not the let me brag about how cool I am or the fluff. It's like
No, that's like hard for me to do.
You want to help people.
Yeah,
That's you.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, I think if you can find a way to do the thing you would do for free, and it just happens to be the thing that creates the value that supports your life. My dad used to say that growing up, and it was a cliche, do something that you're passionate about and you'll never work a day in your life. We've all heard this statement. My dad used to say it all the time. If you're passionate about what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life. And was it a year ago? Yeah, it was about a year ago. He was at my first, he never came to any of my events. And we run these multi-100-person software CEO events. And he came. And it's cool because we usually take over a boutique hotel. And I get the penthouse because I paid for it, right? Like, it's this whole event. It's in the building. They give you, I don't pay for it. Like, I paid for it indirectly because I'm taking over a hotel and the event space and the food and beverage and all that crazy stuff they make you pay for. And my dad comes. And like, he stays in the penthouse because there's 3 rooms. So he stays with me in the room, comes down day 1. He sees me go on stage. I do my thing and I come down and I sit in the back corner while another speaker goes on stage. And he just goes, "You did it." I said, "What?" He goes, "You're retired." I was like, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "You love this." And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "No, like I can't believe this is what you get to do." And I said, "Dad, neither can I." Like, this is, and I know for people, they're like, "Oh, it must be nice." I just think it is available to everybody. If you want to be the world's best photographer, if you want to be the best videographer, if you want to be the world's best mechanical engineer, if you like flipping rocks, dude, we have so many examples. If you like opening toys, Ryan's Toys, like on YouTube, like there's a potential future where you can do the thing you love to do as your way of creating value in the world, more now than ever. And I think it's worth people pulling on that string, putting themselves out there, because the world will reward those that take the risk.
Dude, on that, this has been awesome. I have this thing here where the last guest actually left you a question. And typically...
But they don't know that it was me.
Typically they don't. Of course, the previous ones
yes.
did
Well,
know.
we just ran into each other.
Yeah. But I'm going to ask you the question. I actually don't know what it is. I didn't read it.
Okay.
And then you'll leave one for the next guest.
Cool. I would love that. That's a cool book. I thought it was the Bible. It's like scrolls. Look how old the paper is.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I found this in my attic now.
Dude, I would pay you for those questions.
What do you mean?
Like the questions, screenshot of those questions have to be great questions.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. We'll
do some shows and then
we'll start uploading them. I'll start taking pictures of them, like
please
every
do.
page,
Yeah.
and add them to a little thing.
Yeah, and run a contest for that book and let me enter it. Dude,
Once it fills up.
Dude, we should make a little video or like something on the site where it's like the question and then the answer so people can see. Yes. Yeah. Well, that AI, I'll show you that in a sec.
Yeah, I've been messing with AI so much.
I know. I'm at the edge of it. There's nobody that's got a more advanced AI stuff right now.
All right. How did you land? He knew who you were too.
Okay.
How did you land a 10 when you're barely a 5 on a good day?
Oh shit! I love that. Yeah. How did I land Renee, my wife? I'll give you the real answer. After my engagement fell apart because I was working 100-hour weeks, I went on a journey of getting really clear of who I wanted to be with, and in doing that, it required me to go look in the mirror because people want a 10. You ain't a 10. Like you yourself are not, like this person wouldn't give you a time of day. You're not in shape, you're not resourceful, you're not successful, you're not kind. Like Renee is the nicest person in the world. My wife is a freaking angel. The Dan that I used to be, she wouldn't have put up with that person for half a second. So how did I land Renee? I needed to become the person that could attract a Renee. And that's the truth. And it took me 3 years of like real deep work. We're talking like The Way of the Superior Man and all the best books to just like develop, your beliefs and how to be in a relationship. I just sucked at being in a relationship. How do you be kind? How do you intently love somebody? Well, here's a big idea. You can't love somebody until you love yourself. Are you doing that work? So there was like literally a 3-year journey for me to become the person that would even stand a chance if I had the chance to meet somebody like her. And I guarantee if I didn't do that work, that meeting wouldn't have turned into an incredible marriage.
Cool, man. So you wrote your book. It's awesome. And thanks for bringing it and talking about it. In addition to that, how can people connect with you?
Instagram stories is one of my faves. Dan Martell, 2 L's of Martell on all social media platforms. I got 500,000 on TikTok. I've got YouTube. I'm almost at 100,000 subs. That'll be like the silver play button is going to be the big day we celebrate. Dan at danmartell.com, 2 L's of Martell. Email me if I've ever served you. Please go leave a review. Like, that's a big thing. Like, I'm trying to start a movement with this book. Obviously, I'm proud of it. I keep pimping it. If you read the book and it serves you at all, please go leave a review on Amazon. It's how we get the flywheel going. But we didn't make the New York Times list on the launch, but my mission in life, and I'll get there because I'm tenacious, will be to eventually make the list after the fact, which is, I think, unheard of.
Awesome, man. Dude, thanks for being here. It's good.
My pleasure, man. Thanks, Dylan.